apathetic high school students Arisu, Karube, and Chouta dream about going to an unfamiliar place. Any place that'll snap them out of the boredom of their day-in, day-out routines. Arisu feels insignificant, bound to an NPC's fate in his own life. The three talk about wanting more out of life when a fireworks display goes on behind them. They think it's over, but a final ominous flash sends the three of them to a beach, and they try to make out where they are. A deteriorating city, seemingly abandoned and overgrown with vegetation, lies in front of them. They break into a grocery store and find that everything is rotten, but the expiration dates are all dated for the day before they arrived, or at least the day before the moment they left their familiar circumstances. Time mystery? Arisu and Chouta are full of glee after being transported to this strange place. They feel that this is a chance at true freedom, but Karube is cautious and begs the other two to stay on their toes. At nightfall, they hear music in the distance, and there's a faint glow on the horizon. They follow the music and discover an event full of delicious food and entertainment, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of life. A machine abruptly announces that a game has begun, recognizing 4 players. Karube tries to leave the way he came in, but a woman appears and tells them that they're trapped and they're part of a series of games. She introduces herself as Shibuki and informs the three that if they attempt to escape, they will be killed. She's a player in the current game as well. Since she seems to have some understanding of what's going on, Arisu begs her for more information, but Shibuki warns him that if he doesn't start thinking for himself, he won't stand a chance. The first game starts with cryptic messages printed on small pieces of paper. They each must draw one within a time limit. Shibuki has played the games before and informs Karube that she's seen others die. Karube suspects that Shibuki isn't exactly on equal terms with them. The announcer tells them that they must solve the problems on their cryptic messages or face flaming arrows. Shibuki tells the other three that they must play on or they will suffer a gruesome fate. Karube draws first. No problem, literally. Chouta draws next, and there's an equation to solve. Without putting very much thought into it, he announces his wrong answer, off by 3, and they all learn that the flaming arrows are no joke as 3 of them are fired at Chouta, who narrowly, and to be honest accidentally, evades impalement. Arisu weeps with regret, wondering why he ever wished for a different life. Shibuki also draws a math problem, much more complex, and they miss the solution by 420. So 420 flaming arrows begin to rain down on them. Chouta takes one in the leg, and Arisu is paralyzed with fear, but Karube pulls them together. Arisu's turn, and he draws a virtually impossible problem. He does put his brain to work though, and figures out that the flaming arrows are coming from different directions each time. This time it'll be from the north. It's not about getting the answer exactly right, it's about handling the consequences. Good thing, because his answer is off by 3 million and change. The arrows rain down, but the group manages to find shelter down a hidden hatch, unharmed. They're starting to understand the complexity of the games they're playing. All 4 of them survived, and a visa is produced from a cash register in the underground room. Shibuki explains that this place is called Borderland, and the visa allows players to continue playing. This visa is for 3 days. Arisu realizes there are other players out in the vast valley of ruins, playing games of their own at nightfall. Roaming Borderland, the group finds a trembling old man who refuses to play any more games. His friends have perished. At midnight, lasers shoot down from the sky, and the old man is disintegrated with all the other quitters. This is the fate of those who overstay their visa. Back in the old world, Arisu, Karube, and Chouta talk about the future in Karube's pub. Karube is saving to buy a ranch, and the other 2 are existentially lost. Arisu wakes up and realizes it's been a dream about their past. He confesses that he feels like the past is nothing more than a dream. Meanwhile, Chouta forages for food that Karube later prepares, and the 4 begin to bond with one another. Karube asks the guys if they're up for another game. The others are shocked, but he says it's the only way to stay sharp. Chouta, still injured and fearing his own inadequacy in the face of danger, is left behind. Shibuki stays behind as well, to keep him company. Arisu and Karube enter the building for the new game, Tag. There's a time limit, and the guy who's it will try to kill you. The game ends when you find home base, its starting point. There are lots of new faces. The two determine that they're all pretty naive. A small but stylish man joins them in their quest to survive their second challenge. Arisu maps out the building, explaining that a good starting point is essential. Another mysterious player with blonde hair and headphones feels the same way, but chooses a different point for himself. Automatic weapon fire is heard in the building, and players are shot down immediately. A massive man wearing a horse head mask appears, with an Uzi. Terrified, Karube, Arisu, and their new friend hide. Their new stylish friend perishes when he doesn't take Arisu's advice, but also kind of worked as a decoy for them, so thanks, buddy. The blonde mystery player observes everything from the top of the building, and he's impressed with them. Karube instructs all living players to call out the gunman's location. The mystery player doubts this method, but a climber gymnast ninja woman plays ball, calling out Brojack Gunman's location. Karube and Arisu search for the goal. An out-of-shape and out-of-breath Arisu beats himself up for not participating in more athletics at school and falls behind. Brojack rounds the corner, and Arisu has to hide. He has a flashback of his father's disapproval and how his brother received all the family's attention and affection. Arisu embraces the power of insecurity and goes unnoticed, as Karube joins some others who are hunting the gunman. Their plan fails, and Brojack kills 3 men, but Karube manages to escape. Arisu tries to think like the killer, and suddenly realizes Horseman is guarding the goal. The blonde mystery player finally joins Arisu and Karube to get to the goal, but things go awry. Arisu needs another person in the room with him to push buttons to end the game, and just in time, Ninja Woman drop kicks into the room and clears the game with him. Chouta and Shibuki celebrate from a distance. Arisu starts to really appreciate life once again, feeling that it could end at any moment. Flashback to Karube on his way out of the second game. The mystery blonde player makes it a point to tell him that radio communication is still active in this world, and if he wants to find one, he should try an old taxi. He does, and he hears someone frantically broadcasting to run to the beach for answers. At an abandoned hospital, Chouta is scared and says he's not strong, but Shibuki comforts him. They make love to console each other, and afterwards, she talks about surviving a terrifying game. Arisu thinks about Climber Ninja Lady, who, after helping clear the last game, introduced herself as Yuzuha Usagi. She refused his invitation to join them because that might mean she may have to attack him one day. Chouta and Shibuki's visas are about to expire, so the 4 find another game in a massive biodome. They're assigned headgear that detects eye movement. The announcer tells them they're playing a wolf and sheep hide-and-seek game. The winning conditions? After the allotted time, whoever is the wolf wins. It oddly forces the wolf to hide from the sheep because the headsets function as a selection tool. If the wolf sees one of the sheep, that sheep becomes the wolf, and only the wolf will survive. To start, Chouta is randomly selected as the wolf, but the role gets passed around as they stand there glancing at each other trying to get their heads wrapped around their situation. Arisu tries to think his way to a more agreeable resolution than only one of them survives. When Shibuki becomes the wolf, she refuses to look at anyone, apologizes to Chouta, and runs away. Karube attacks and strangles Shibuki, threatening her with a hatchet he found earlier. Chouta begs him to stop, but Shibuki gets a hold of the hatchet and knocks Karube off of her. Chouta calls out to her, and she looks at him, making him the wolf, and he runs. Arisu's instinct for self-preservation takes over, and he pursues him, which isn't hard because he's still recovering from an arrow shot wound. An exhausted and devastated Chouta passes the wolf role to Arisu, who once again summons the power of his insignificance and insecurity to hide well. The group had completely turned on each other, but Chouta decides that it doesn't matter now. Through the headsets, he gets in one last brag, telling them he slept with Shibuki. And then he apologizes for his selfish betrayal when he was the wolf. Arisu is touched by the expression of love and realizes that he is, right now, the selfish betrayer of the group. He tells everyone to meet him at the entrance. They each continue expressing remorse through the headsets, and even Shibuki joins in. They refuse to expose themselves to Arisu and decide to let him live. Karube tells Arisu again about his dream of owning a ranch while smoking one last cigarette. He had imagined it as a place where the three of them would still get together from time to time later in life. The allotted time is up. Karube, Chouta, and Shibuki are killed. And Karube's final cigarette, not the exploding death collars, but the cigarette, sets the biodome ablaze. A still alive but absolutely traumatized Arisu collapses from shock. Usagi appears and asks Arisu if he still wishes to survive. After a maniacal declaration of vengeance, they join forces to find and kill the game masters of Borderland. Thank you for sticking until the end. Subscribe for more videos like this.